This really is my garage, a promo poster there for U2's Achtung Baby. I remember driving on the Broadway curve and listening to Dennis McBroom, his 10 at 10, previewing that new album coming out on KDKB. But this story of U2, my garage, and Arizona predates that LP. But first a footnote. As you can see, the garage is littered with remnants of other U2 concerts here. If they asked me to wear it, stick it, catch it, read it, use it, or donate to it, I probably did. This story is about the 1986 album of the year, The Joshua Tree. 25 million copies sold. A supporting tour that started in Arizona, ended in Arizona, and soon returns to Arizona some 30 years later. For a certain age group, it's clearly part of the soundtrack of our lives. I remember the build-up. It started in the early 80s, and in Ancient New Times that we have tells us they came here. A cover story about the original Sons Gorilla has the evidence. Those old papers are like a time capsule filled with iconic advertisements from the day. There's Henry Rojas, the first gorilla. But the back pages, that's where rock and roll evidence abounds. Steve Miller, and then wait for it, here it comes. The Jay Giles Band with U2. They would return in support of another album at the once great Compton Terrace. That was in the spring of '85, and the album The Unforgettable Fire. That's signed by the band, yes, and personalized to the gang at the old Irish hangout in the heart of Tempe, Bandersnatch. And 2 years later, back to the desert Southwest, they would return, an album inspired in part by this very region, a region they would in turn support in their own way. The Joshua Tree, the metaphor, surviving in the harshest environment, somehow quenching a thirst along the way. When the tour opened in Tempe at the Activity Center, U2 found themselves not just on the cover of Rolling Stone, but on the cover of Time magazine. They really were rock's hottest ticket. The third show of that tour, the Tucson Convention Center. And then away they went. 109 gigs, a tour that lasted 3 legs. While they were away, you couldn't help but track their every movement and sound the old-fashioned way. There were 45 singles to get, the cassette, the CD, singles and B-sides on LPs and CDs, and if you knew someone in rock radio or knew the right guy at the record store, you could dig deeper. And then a sort of homecoming. Their 2-show finale, Sun Devil Stadium, the Barry Fay press release with a shocking announcement that both shows would be filmed for an upcoming concert movie and that tickets would be just $5 a piece. The garage has some interesting artifacts from that time, pictures of the concert construction of Sun Devil Stadium, the camera positions, the iconic set list, and of course ticket stubs. U2 fans came from all over the world, still to this day, boasting their presence with tattered, torn, and worn stubs. My own favorite? This one never used. Less than a year later, the movie Rattle and Hum was released, yet another vestige of the Joshua Tree album and tour, and for many fans here in the Valley, there was only one screen to absorb it on, and that was the original Cine Capri. Which brings me back to the Joshua Tree 30-year anniversary tour, which rolls through Glendale on the 19th. I can't articulate what it is like visually, sonically, and emotionally, and I wouldn't dare. It's a personal journey. But my guess is, if you're watching this video through the prism of perhaps your own garage and memories in it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when the band hits the stage on Tuesday night and the screen goes red, just like it did those 2 rainy nights back in December of '87 in Tempe. And for a moment, you'll realize that you still haven't found what you're looking for, but that maybe that quest, that journey, is what it's all about.